Let's dive right into the final game, and we do have Luard against Messiah. So surprisingly, Messiah didn't make the top card among the top 4, and the top 4 does have 3 other Lords. And we do see him riding to the later Battler. So hitting the auto ego here, which is very good since that his deck is actually currently running the grade 4 1 auto ego and along with the order. So hitting the grade 3 Messiah here is very good and consistent for him. So we shall see what he's going to discard. If he does discard the Lady Fencer here and passes the turn. So it's the Shadow turn here. Will we be able to see the Superior Chain right here? He does right into the Brandwen here. Drawing first, gaining the Quick Shield, which is the PBD here. Very interesting. He does search top 5. And he hits the lot. Very lucky for him. So do we see the Neyman here in his hand? We do see a Neyman here, and most likely he's going to go for the chain right combo here. So I'd like to point out here actually that if the Link Joker player does tag in this card called a Stringent Deleter Igama, this card actually can stop the Neyman Search and even the Superior actually. So he does try to warn the PBD here. Will we be able to see him breaking with the second PBD in hand? So he passes turn and he does right to the Gustra here. And this Gustra, if he does have the Machine Deity in hand, this will do a lot for him. Given the fact that Luard does need time to even set up, so having been able to call down the grade 4 early and push it for game, it will be one of the win conditions for Messiah. So adding on to what I've just mentioned earlier, he can actually place Ferment Deleter Gain, which actually binds the grade 1, specifically Neyman here. But the heads up play from the Link Joker, from the Shadow player here, he actually calls the second Neyman here to ensure that he is able to superior call the Bande in the next turn. So we do see him having the Blaster Dart here and he'll be riding it here. So does he have the Bande in hand or will he be using a Neyman search? He does use one of the Neyman to search. And we will be seeing a superior right to the chain, superior right to the PBD here. So this is him showcasing the strength of the Luard deck. Having been able to ride the grade 3 first is a bonus, but however, Luard does push that further given the fact that Drag Driver does give him additional critical triggers. To the Rearguard Circles, to the grade 1 Rears, if you have 2 grade 3 in Soul. So that is why the PBD chain ride is actually broken, because it accelerates the deck so much and pressuring your opponent with Force 1 and technically Force 2 markers at such a early game. And given the fact that the Messiah player does go first here, so it's not as painful as we would expect it, but it's still painful nonetheless from the Luard player. So we do see him throwing a Burst Bomb there to guard, which is a very heads up move because in hand, Burst Bomb doesn't actually do much, and with being in the drop zone, Alter Ego can Soul Blast 1 and putting the Burst Bomb into the field and then unlocking it later for the skill to proc. So the Shadow player is actually deciding whether to damage Ina here, but he's still going to give that damage. So he does get 1 damage, having a critical to be there, wasting 1 critical trigger. So we will be running to the Auto Ego here, which he did search out in the previous 2 turns. And now will he be going to the marker 2? Yes, he does, and pushing up the Lady Fencer here. Given the fact that Shadow is already on grade 3, the magic number is actually already gone. Given the fact that Lady Fencer can hit for 15k by herself, and if opponent is on grade 2 10k or 9k, he'll be a 10k guard. But as you can see here, he's already on PBD and 13k base body does make him guard easier. And given that he does have the quick shield also, actually he does discard the quick shield already, but 5k guard is very minimal and it can be guarded with a grade 2 in hand. So I would like to bring up an interesting topic, which is that Link Joker might be better playing off Deleter in the current meta. Not too sure how well you will go, but Deleter does pretty well currently in the format, given that everybody is going to be riding at least one time and then they won't be riding any further. So Deleter does have the edge, but I'm not too sure who will be brave enough to bring it to the tournament scene given the fact that the deck does rely on opponent going first, which is the weird part, given that every standard deck currently in the game does benefit going first. So he does swing the Lady Fencer here, swinging for 15k power only, which is a 5k guard, but given it's forced to, I personally would eat it here and hoping for a damage trigger here so that you have an easier time guarding in the following attacks, but we shall see how the Luard player will be doing his guard pattern. So he attempted to eat. So he does eat a 2 damage here, getting a damage trigger and actually getting 2 damage trigger there. Very lucky for him. And he does swing the Lady Fencer at the side. And do note that Lady Fencer doesn't need to hit the Vanguard or rather attack the Vanguard to actually self-lock. So hitting the side here works. So Neyman dies and self-lock herself once again. And Alter Ego will be swinging for 13k. Now most likely swinging at the side given the fact that the PBD of the opponent is actually at 33k base. So the Burst Bomb does activate here. So now we're just doing a last minute check. And so he actually opens the critical trigger here. Very unfortunate. It could have been a drive check, but you can't complain for more shields in hand. So he does drop the PBD, not guarding it, which is definitely not worth it. So twin drives happen now. And 2 blanks. And he passes turn, given the fact that 33k base is too big for the Lady Fencer to hit despite the 10k power additional 10k power. So we do see a lot riding up here, putting the second marker to one side, stacking up both on one column. And we do see a Neyman tap here, most likely into the Abyssal Hour or... Yep, so he does go for the Abyssal Hour here. So Abyssal Hour will be allowing him to Soul Blast 1 to draw 1 given the fact that both of them are on the same grade. And then using the Drag Heart skill to actually bomb the Lady Fencer to further draw 1 more card. A lot of pluses for the lot there. So using the Drag Heart What skill to superior right to the Drag Driver here, given the fact that he does have 5 grade 1 in the drop zone, the cost is free. Now he does return the Neyman and the Abyssal Hour back to deck and then superior right. As I have mentioned earlier, now he does have 2 grade 3 in soul. He has 2 criticals on his grade 1 rearguards, and this will be a potential very deadly push turn. And we do, because of Jet Driver having a force marker by himself, we do see him gaining yet another marker and then he puts it to one side again. So currently he can only superior call 2 grade 1s, so we shall see what he'll be calling. He does call the one of the Abyssal Hour, never wrong to farm more cards in hand. Oh, he actually takes it back. He calls one of Neyman and one of the Tyrant. So Tyrant is very good here because it kind of like just counter charge you the 1 counter blast you just paid. And given the fact that Messiah is playing market 2, you do want to watch out for your counter blast before you do get damage denied hard later into the stage of the game. And it's quite important for a lot of players especially to look through their hand to know what grade 1s are left, because you do not want to run out of resources. The fact that Drag Heart only returns 2 grade 1 every time, rather 2 normal units every time, you might not be able to sustain the grade 1 count in your deck, and then the superior call will in the end run out. So he's going to confirm the grade 1s again, one of it being Charon as I mentioned earlier, but choosing the right column to put and calling the Knight of Street Order there. So what this card does is actually a 20k bid stick when your field is full of grade 1s. So why this card is good actually is because that given the fact that you'll be stacking force markers to one side anyway, so the other side will be hitting quite low. So you do want to kind of power up the lacking power on the side. And we do see the Brand 1 committed here, and just looking at that field, it's a Knight of Street Order and a Brand 1 is hitting for 33k power just like that, and it's 25k gun. And because of Drag Driver skill, that's 2 criticals, and that is quite sick. So he does commit the Morfessa here, and Morfessa being a grade 1 himself does have a critical trigger as well. So this 30k guard for 2 criticals when opponent just write grade 1, and this is just Lord's first turn, or rather first grade 3 turn officially. So he does eat 2 damage here, it's a huge damage, and the heal goes off. And it's another damage trigger, paying back what the Shadow player has done to him in the previous turn. And we do see the Brahman caught here. And 3 damage is a very weird, I would say a very weird sort of power, or rather a weird damage count against the Luard player here, because Luard is always hoping to do 2 damage at once, and 4 damage will be their preferred damage count for you. And Drag Driver does swing here. I mean, he does intercept with the Lady Fencer here, and now he's swinging the Drag Driver here. And Drag Driver does plus 25k because of for each great ones on the field. And it's hitting for 46k power here, and Messiah is only on 33k. So we'll be seeing most likely a 25k shield thrown here. That's 2 pass. Actually, a 58 is a no pass here. So it just Twin Drive blank. And Bremen swings. And it's hitting for 54k, and that will be requiring a 25k guard. Even when the Messiah does hit 2 damage trigger, this is just huge power columns from the Luard player here. So we do see a 30k committed here. And then finally passes turn, but because Drag Driver does ride down to the Drag Heart, we do see another Force Buckler. And he's decided to put it 1 into the Vanguard, which is very interesting. Most likely a very haste up play, because you do want to prep for the opponent to be not able to, or rather be confident to guard, or rather eat the side first, so sorry, and then eating to 5, then guarding the Drag Driver. So we do see in the corner the Lady Fencer, and one thing to point out, the Messiah still haven't seen the Machine Deity yet, which is actually the core of the deck, and the only reason I personally feel why Messiah is actually tier 1, or rather tier 1.5, because of the Machine Deity, but you do need a high roll, similarly to Tachikaze back then with the Anger Blader and the Sweep Dinosaur. So you do need these pieces in the early game to really just snowball out of control, and given the fact they are fighting against Luard, you do want to see it as early as possible, but we do not see it here in game 1. So he does pay the cost for the Alter Ego here, and what will he be calling back? Most likely, so he does call Gustav here, retiring the Burst Monk himself, because Burst Monk on the field really does nothing, and we do see him calling the Lady Battler here. So 2 lock cards. And we do see in the previous turn he does have the Order in hand, so he'll be most likely unlocking. Yes, he'll be unlocking the Lady Battler. Very interesting. And then drawing 1 card. So Lady Battler does plus 5k because there's a lock card on the field. And he does swing the Lady Fencer booster here. And that's 20k gun. So now the Luard does have another idea, which is similar to the previous turn, to eat the damage first so that he can have a better time guarding later. So will he be able to achieve the same damage trigger in the previous turn, allowing him to have a very easier time to guard? So he does eat, and does eat to 1 more damage trigger here, making the turn slightly easier for him to guard. He does swing with the Alter Ego, and that's 13k to his 23k Luard power, so it's going to be a very easy time to guard. A 15k will be a no pass here. Yeah, so he does throw the 15k for a no pass, twin driving into another double blank. This is just not looking good for the Messiah player. He does swing the Lady Fencer, which is hitting for 25, which is just a 5k guard, very unfortunately. Does show the Knight of Accomplishment there. He does use the Gustav to attack Vanguard. Can't hit, but he just on the cycle, and he does hit the Great One there. Drawing 1, and with the Great One, what the Great One does is actually just draw 1 card further when he unlocks. So it's time for the Luard turn again, and we shall see whether he's able to end the game here. Yeah, we do see the Machine Deity finally in the Messiah hand, and we do hope we will be able to see it in the following turn. So he does ride into another Luard and putting yet another marker to the side, and using the Drag Heart skill to retire 2 of the Great Ones to retire the Lady Fencer once again. So he'll be using the just counting through his deck first, and what he's going to call Abyssal over here, yes, to further filter into the deck. You know, the filter does help the Luard player because you do want to see mostly triggers in your decks instead, and hopefully to draw out all the non-trigger pieces. And he does use the Drag Driver skill here, Drag Heart skill here to superior the Drag Driver, and he now has to carefully choose what to put back. We do see him putting back the Knight of Accomplishment here, as well as the starter, very interesting choice. And he'll be superior riding to the Drag Driver here, and given that he does have 3 Luard in soul, he can actually superior call 4 cards. So a slight misplay here, sound out by the Luard player here, is that he actually forgot to count the number of Mofasa he does have in his deck left. Because 1 is in the damage zone and 1 in his deck, and given that his deck list does only play 2 Mofasa, and this turn will be sort of a window for the Messiah player to recover, because there won't be 4 attacks this turn anymore compared to the last turn. So we're seeing calling one of the Abyssal Hours, and one of the Knight of Accomplishment here. So he can actually pay the cost for the Abyssal Hour here. But he's still allowed to call 2 more Great Ones. And he does call the Hardship Sage Decron, which just allows your Great One to be intercepts. And does use the skill to Soul Charge 1 and then Soul Blasting 1. Soul Blasting Drag Driver here to recover for the next turn, which is very important. So he does swing with the Vanguard like this first, which is hitting for 38, 43, 53k power. Talk about balanced power. So now the Messiah does request a trigger check here, because given the fact that he most likely have to no guard one of the attacks, most likely the Vanguard swing here. But given there is no Mofasa in this turn, the lacking of 1 more attack does hurt the Luard player a lot, because he could have been on a 4 force markers and that's going to push so hard. He does no guard here. Does hit a huge trigger here, which does compensate for the misplay done by him. And a critical trigger, so he does push 2 damage and opening double trigger. And the Messiah does heal here, but given that he's at 4 damage and the Spirit Guards are hitting for 2 critical each, this doesn't help him to relieve off the pressure for the guarding. And the brand 1 column is actually hitting for 43k power. Very, very high power once again. And I do hope the Messiah player does discard the Machine Deity from hand here to put it into the drop zone. Oh, we do see the PG committed here. Most likely discard the Machine Deity. We do see him throwing the Burst Bomb here. Sorry, the Blast Bomb here. Okay, I now do see the combo that Messiah is trying to do. He does try to use Gustra to actually bind the Great 4 later to commit 1 more attack. So we shall see how the turn will play out. So it's finally back to the Messiah turn once again. He does right into the second mid-side here, gaining yet another force marker. He does put it to the side, which is the correct move, because usually your rear guards are the one multi-battling. He's still considering what to call from the drop zone here, given there's not much choice, and he does have to end the game this turn. So we do coin the double monk there. And one of the bird spawn being there does allow him to potentially luck sack into a grade 3 and then restanding the turn. So he does swing with the Gustra being boosted here, which is 23k, which is hitting for 15k guard. But looking at the hand size of Luard, he does feel comfortable guarding. So this might be not the final turn for the Messiah. So now we do begin the trigger check. Given that this is the final game, any misplay can be fatal. So he does hit another damage trigger here, and 2 at that. Damn, this guy is just crazy, man. So we do see him committing the machine deity there. And we do see Messiah swinging, which is just a 13k power. Yet again into a 33k war, most likely he'll be hitting side this time. So now you have to choose which unit is he attacking before committing to the burst monk here. So he does target the brand one here, and then the burst bomb skill activates. Checking into machine deity, very unfortunate that the wording of the effect doesn't mean grade 3 and above, and then the withstand doesn't happen. So he does guard for 2 pass against the brand one. Given that fact that Luard does need to save all his grade 1 rear guards, even though it does seem that he can replenish them back, the fact that you don't exactly replenish all the grade 1 back to deck, so having grade 1s, very strong grade 1s on the field is very important. The machine deity swings here, but just a 10k guard. Sorry, a 50k power, given the fact that he does open trigger there. So it's just a 20k guard. Very unfortunate, which could have been a 40k guard instead. So he does swing with the burst monk here. Sorry, the blast monk. Binding, most likely I would prefer him to bind the Knight of Strict Order, because that is the strongest card on the field. It does point to the Knight of Strict Order. So a very good bind. Which is just another 10k guard. The double damage trigger here is very strong on the Luard turn, relieving off a lot of pressure. So it's finally the Luard turn once again, which is most likely the final turn, if he does remember to put back the Luard, or rather the Mofasa back to deck. So he does sack the Abyssal Hour and the Knight of Accomplishment here. To bomb the intercept here, which is very crucial given the fact that he is going to push for this turn. Most likely he's going to return the Drag Driver as well as the Mofasa back to his deck to Superior Right. Okay, so he does target these 2 cards, gaining yet another force marker, most likely putting to the right column to increase the Mofasa. No, he actually puts to the brand one here. Very interesting play. And currently he's able to call up to 4 grade 1s. But the fact that I don't think his deck does have a lot of grade 1 left, so he does call the Neyman and just calling 2 units only. So most likely the deck is filled with triggers or rather non-grade 1 units. And Mofesa's gonna swing for a very high power. And that's asking for a 60k guard heads up. How is that even balanced? And the brand 1 column is hitting for 38k, which is asking for a 30k guard alone. There's a lot of shields being dropped, and Mofesa does turn into another grade 1, which will be forcing more shields. We do see him calling the brand 1 here. And brand 1 swing again, which is hitting for another 63k power, and a PG is being forced yet again. And given the fact that he is at 4, it's better to always swing with a grade 1 first to force out all the shields, because he might be hoping for a no guard and a no critical trigger dry check to E to 5 and potentially hitting a damage trigger to relieve off the guard power for this turn. So he does swing the brand 1 first, which is the correct move in my opinion. And then 30k guard forced here. And the Drag Driver does swing. Actually, he does swing at the side instead and open the last heal in his deck. And this might be an interesting move to some of you guys, but I think it's actually the correct move because you do want to ensure the victory here. You do hit the side, ensuring that the missile doesn't have much play to work with, given that he doesn't have any counter blast. And even if he does Soul Blast 1 to call 2 units from the drop zone, it's not going to guarantee much of a push because of the the Luard hands is being so healthy. So you do want to ensure to end the game with the rear guards or your basically the rear guards on your left and right, because both of them have 2 criticals and you do want to have a clean victory. So kudos to Gabriel here, which actually does make the right move in this game, except the Mofesa turn. And he does call down the booster for the final last turn push, because the fact that the grade 2 doesn't help in any way. So he does swing for 21k here. 30k will be a no pass. Sorry, actually a 25k will suffice. So no pass is being thrown here. And the final 2 PG will ensure the game. And so he does have it and announce it to the opponent like that. And it's finally the Luard turn once again, and given the fact that we do see 9 marker 1 and we do see a 10 marker 1 being committed here, and most likely the 11 marker will be coming down with the Drag Driver, using the skill straight away, putting back Mofesa as well as Drag Driver back to back, riding into another Drag Driver from the blasting 1. And we do see him running out of markers here, because 11 markers is going to be 11 markers is quite a lot to be asking for, and given the fact that the game has dragged so long, this is quite common to see. And Mofesa push for the final final attack, and this should be game. We do move on to game 2 with the missile going first once again. Hopefully he does see the machine deity finally in this game, and you do see him riding into the Lady Battle here, searching the top 5. Hopefully he'll be able to hit the Alter Ego once again, and he does. Will we be able to see a comeback from him? And which card will he be deciding to discard? We do see the Lady Fencer there. And he does discard the Lady Fencer, which is a very heads up move in my opinion. And we do see him riding into the Knight of Accomplishment there. Will we be able to see a Neyman once again? Getting the quick shoe first. And he doesn't hit the Neyman at all. But he does check into a draw trigger to compensate for that. But we do see a Machine DD going to the damage zone. Very, very unlucky for the Messiah player. We do see him running the Gustra here. Hopefully, we will be able to see the Machine DD, because his dash is really the bread and butter for Messiah. And she does commit one more column. And both of them will be hoping to cycle with the deck. So actually that's the right move to adjust it, to call it behind the Vanguard, because that's when it's hard to actually guard against it. So a quick shoe, actually a misplay here done by them, because given the fact that the Knight of Accomplishment is actually a grade 1 5k, quick shoe won't be enough, it's actually a 10k guard. So very unfortunate that I did not catch this display, and so sorry for the viewers. But I would like to apologize in advance for these two players, because this tournament is actually happening very late into the day, around 10 PM, and both of them actually are losing focus, I would say, and not able to catch the misplay done here. And we do see the Shadow Play actually top decking to the Band-Aid, one-off Band-Aid in the deck, having the Blaster Dart in hand and Superior riding straight into the Phantom Blaster Dragon here. Very fortunate for him. So this game would have turned out very, very differently if the quick shoe was not enough, but I'm very confident he does have more shields in hand to guard him. So he does swing the PvD like this. He does no guard here. Just checking into a Luard and a critical trigger on top of that. This is just very fortunate for him, given the fact that he does top deck the Band-Aid in the same turn. He does right into the Alter Ego here. Hopefully we will be able to see a comeback turn achieved by him. And using the Alter Ego skill, we will be calling two Rear Guards from the drop zone, most likely the Lady Fencer, which he dropped previously in the first turn, and he does call Severe Call into another Lady Battler. So he does swing with the Grisroth here, having the need to boost because the Vanguard is already 13k base due to the Superior Ride, calling to the Alter Ego here. And he's swinging with the Alter Ego here, unlocking 3 Rear Guards, and these 3 Rear Guards are getting the steroid buff of plus 10k. So a 2 pass is required here. First checking a critical trigger, will he be confident and all in here? He does pump it to the side and power to the middle actually, hoping for a double trigger there, but doesn't hit it. But the Lady Fencer does have a 2 critical on her. So swing with the Alter Ego, which is 15k. Sorry, a 15k guard. And the Lady Fencer is asking for a 35k guard. And we do see into damage there, no damage trigger as per the previous game. And he will be riding into the Luard here, having access to the 2 critical once again, because he did achieve the PBD Superior Ride in this game. He does use a lot skill here to straight away Superior Ride, because he seems to not have any Neyman in hand to actually call a Abyssal Hour or using the X skill at all. So most likely he will be seeing a Neyman Court here, and most likely into a Charon. We shall see how it's going to play out. Given the fact that he has only 2 great ones to work with, yeah, so one of them will be the Neyman. and the other the Abyssal Hour. So very important for, I mean, this is the demonstration of how Luard is so strong is because of the consistency of the superior superior calling of the Great Ones, and the Great Ones in Shadow Paladin is very strong. So we do see a name untap here, most likely into another Abyssal Hour or probably another Neyman, or maybe even the Knight of Strict Order. Oh, so very friendly heads up play by the Messiah player, which is to remind him he does gain another force marker, so kudos to him. And we do see him calling Knight of Strict Order here, which is expected. He does call the Vanguard here to search top 5. And will we be able to see the Mofasa committed here, which is most likely the case given the fact that he does have 2 critical online. So Mofasa swing for 30k guard. How will the Messiah be guarding here? He does throw the 30k shield heads up to the Mofasa, and Mofasa will become yet into another Great One, having one more critical 2 Great One unit to swing. So he does swing the Drag Driver here first for 38k power unboosted. Twin Drive does open a heal here yet again. Healing off the Charon here. No, actually heal off the Drag Driver here. Just checking into the Mofasa here. So 30k guard requested here. Because I believe the Brand 1 doesn't hit the 13k, or rather the 5k requirement of the 3 Great One in drop zone. And the PG is forced here, and more shields drop from him. And given the fact that those are heal triggers in hand, means we will not be seeing Messiah getting any heal of this game. We do see him drawing to the order here. We shall see how will he be able to make use of this order card. Riding to another Alter Ego, gaining one more marker to the side, and so blasting one to call 2 Great Guards from the drop zone. Replacing the Alter Ego, calling the Gustav here, as well most likely the Lady Battler. Yep, so he does choose the Lady Battler here, locking both of them, using the order most likely to unlock the Gustav to draw additional 1 card. Hopefully he does draw the Machine Deity here, which will be the high roll he deserves, given the fact that the Shadow Paladin did top deck into the Band-Aid there. Given the body language we can see on the Messiah player, most likely is not he never top deck the Machine Deity, or not he should be excited. He does swing with the 18k here, which is a 10k guard. And Gustav using skill. While he'll be locking here, he does lock the Burst Bomb there, drawing 1 card. Swing the Lady Fencer here, locking himself. Swing with the Alter Ego. And now they are doing a trigger check here. And a 2 pass is required here. Just checking into a double blank, the Alter Ego must be very upset with this. Swing the Burst Bomb here, and binding off the Knight of Strict Order once again, and then just a 10k guard required. He does eat to a draw trigger here, And another Drag Driver does go into the damage zone. Most likely he does have a PG to be eating the 20k up front. Yes, so he does have a PG, and then he passes turn to the Luard player once again. Most likely this should be a final turn, as we do see a lot of shields being dropped in the previous turn for the Messiah, and Luard does continue to farm more markers, and Mofessa will push the game. And additionally, Messiah is already at 4 damage, which is the lethal damage zone for the Luard player. So he does use the Neymar tap here first to call the Abyssal Hour, which will he be further sacking later to draw one more additional card. Using the skill first to Soul Blast 1 to draw 1. Using the X skill, not yet. He does use the X skill to kill off the Bending, as well the Abyssal Hour to most likely kill on the Interceptors, yes, so the Lady Fencer is the better Interceptor here. And using the Drag Driver skill here, superior riding into the Drag Driver here. Putting back the Mofessa as well as the Drag Driver. So as I mentioned in the first game, the Great Ones are limited in a lot deck, so if you do play a retired deck, it does help against them, or rather help you against them, because they usually want to return Mofessa or the Drag Driver back to deck instead of any other Great Ones. And he's able to call 4 Great Ones here, one of them being the Mofessa, the second one being the Nis, the third one being the Dekron, and the fourth one being the Brandwood. Further filtering the deck, and this is most likely it. Very unfortunate for the Messiah player is that he doesn't see any machine deity in this game. And Nis Superior Calling, using the skill to Soul Blast 1 to sack one more rear guard, adding more, I would say, pain to the injury. Mofessa swings, and this should be it. Hitting 2 damage, and this is game. Thank you for watching till the end, and do drop a like and comment and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Stay tuned for more future videos.